So NECCUS is the industry body representing members who are interested in decarbonisation of industry throughout Scotland, primarily through CCS. CCS stands for Carbon Capture and Storage, and its attendant blue hydrogen, one of the many colours of hydrogen these days. Decarbonisation and the technology of the 21st century that has given us carbon capture and storage is really looking to pick up on the technology largely of the 20th century, which has given us the climate change issue that we have today. The new technology of carbon capture and storage can help us dramatically shift into that transition to a net zero world. And with sufficient projects, we can make the transition in a just manner that will keep the industries, allow us to transition from the high carbon industry that we have today to a low carbon and indeed net zero industry of tomorrow. We're really close to delivering carbon capture and storage in Scotland, and we're as close as people want us to be. We have projects there ready, almost shovel ready, to utilise the existing technology, but the existing infrastructure that's in the North Sea that will allow us to capture carbon, ship it out to the North Sea and safely store it there for many, many, many eons to come. So we're as close as people, we're as close as governments want us to be. We're looking for the support of people and the support of organisations and indeed government to make this happen sooner rather than later. As I said, this isn't something that we can afford to wait. We need to act now. We need to act yesterday. We need to get this moving now. CCUS globally is very significant, and what applies for Scotland applies for the world, particularly in areas where there is an existing high density of carbon emissions, either from the power industry or from other parts of the industrial sectors. Carbon capture, utilisation and storage can be used now and is being used now on a smaller scale, but can be used now in a large scale to mitigate the short-term impacts of carbon emissions. And that's really important, not just for Scotland, but it's really important for the UK, for Europe, and indeed globally. This is a no-brainer. The CCC recently issued a statement saying there's no option here. We have to go down this road of CCUS. It's something we have to do, and the sooner we do it, the better. The need to decarbonise industry now is evident. If we don't do that, the alternatives are one of two. We either miss all our targets for climate change, or we have to switch off industry. And that's not going to be helpful to any of the economies in the world, far less Scotland. And this comes back to this area of just transition. So yes, we can just transition, but it's about the fairness of that transition. It's about making sure that we can transfer from the high carbon world that we're in today to a low carbon world of tomorrow, and hopefully a net zero world of tomorrow. And that transition can be just. We can move industry in that way. We can make that transition so that we are not shutting down large sections of the Scottish or indeed the UK economy to achieve that. This is doable now. The really good thing about why this should happen in Scotland is For once, the geology of Scotland is working in our favour. We have world-class carbon stores in the North Sea as a result of past oil and gas work. These sites are there, they are available, they can be reused for carbon capture and storage. In addition to those sites, we also have pipelines on the East Coast that can take that carbon CO2 back out to the storage. It's there, it's ready to be used now. People say the technology is untried. Technology has been happening for years now. We can now capitalise that. We can learn the lessons of the smaller scale projects. We can utilise that technology and make this happen now. And that's the critical thing, that we make this happen now in Scotland. In addition to that technology, in addition to that infrastructure, we're in a unique position that we can actually accept shipped CO2 from the rest of the UK and indeed from the rest of Europe. We can accept shipped CO2 into Peterhead and from there pipe it out to the North Sea. And that's a fantastic opportunity for Scotland, for the UK and globally. To make this happen now, we need Westminster Government to give us the support necessary to allow us to organise for the CFDs, to organise the consents, to organise the processes that will allow us to fast track these projects as quickly as possible. If we don't do that, we are going to have to do this, so why not do it now? The CFDs are the contracts for differences that enable investors to have a security or that enable investors to understand what the return is going to be over a longer period of time, and it helps government to mitigate the risk for investors going forward.